Let me ask you something, my friend. Have you ever felt stuck? I mean, really stuck. Like you are spinning your wheels, giving it everything you have, but somehow, no matter what you do, someone else seems to be ahead of you. Maybe it is that friend who always seems to land the perfect job, or that neighbor pulling into their driveway with a brand new car while you are still figuring out how to fix yours. Or maybe, just maybe, it is that influencer on Instagram. You know, the one posting flawless snapshots of their so-called perfect life. And there you are, scrolling through your feed, staring at their highlight reel, wondering, what am I doing wrong? Now listen closely, because what I am about to say has the power to change everything. And I do mean everything. The problem is not them. It is not the friend, the neighbor, or the influencer. The problem is focus. You are spending so much of your time, so much of your energy watching their lives, admiring their highlights, that you are forgetting about your own journey. Let me tell you something, and I want you to hear me loud and clear. Life is not meant to be a spectator sport. You were not put here to watch someone else's movie. No, my friend, you were born to write your own script. Think about it for a moment. Every second you spend comparing yourself to others, every moment you spend doubting yourself, envying what they have, wishing you were where they are, that is time you could have spent building something extraordinary for yourself. Let me ask you this: how can you climb your mountain if you are too busy staring at someone else's? How can you reach your peak if your eyes are constantly wandering to someone else's path? The truth is, you cannot. And that is why I am here today. To remind you that your focus, your energy, your effort, all of it needs to be directed inward. Here is the truth, plain and simple. The moment you stop focusing on others and start focusing on yourself, that is the moment everything changes. And when I say everything, I mean it. Your life, your goals, your happiness, it all shifts the moment you decide to turn your focus inward. Now, do not get me wrong. I am not saying to ignore the world around you. No, that is not the point. Be inspired by others, learn from their success, but do not let their story become your benchmark. You do not let their chapter 20 define your chapter 1. You see, every one of us is on our own unique journey. And your journey, my friend, is unlike anyone else's. You have your own challenges, your own lessons to learn, your own victories to celebrate. You have your own race to run. And let me tell you, it is a beautiful race. So here is my challenge for you today. I want you to shift your focus. Stop scrolling through their highlights. Start crafting your own. Stop measuring your progress by their milestones. Instead, ask yourself this: where was I yesterday? Where am I today? And where do I want to be tomorrow? Because when you focus on yourself, when you truly turn your energy inward, something incredible begins to happen. You start to grow. You start to move. You start to build momentum toward the life you have always dreamed of. And let me share something powerful with you. When you do this, when you make the decision to focus on yourself, you will discover a truth that is both liberating and empowering. You will realize that the greatest competition you will ever face is not with them. It is not with the friend, or the neighbor, or the influencer. It is with the person you were yesterday. Every small step you take forward, every little win, puts you closer to the life you have always wanted. Every day that you choose to focus on your growth, your dreams, your potential, you inch closer to becoming the person you were always meant to be. So let me ask you again, my friend. The next time you feel stuck, the next time you catch yourself comparing your journey to someone else's, what will you do? Will you let those thoughts hold you back? Or will you shift your focus? Because here is the truth: you were not put here to live someone else's life. You were not put here to follow someone else's path. You were put here to blaze your own trail, to write your own story, to live your own journey. And let me tell you something. When you do that, when you focus on yourself and commit to becoming the best version of you, the world takes notice. People see your growth, your determination, your success. And you do not just inspire yourself, you inspire others to do the same. So go out there and focus, my friend. Focus on your dreams, your goals, your journey. And watch what happens when you do. Watch how your life begins to transform. Watch how the noise fades away and the clarity comes rushing in. Because the moment you focus on yourself, not others, is the moment you take control of your life. And let me tell you, that is when the magic truly begins. Let me share something with you today. A truth so simple, yet so profound. Comparison is a thief. It doesn't knock politely or ask for permission. It sneaks in, often unnoticed, and robs you of your joy, your energy, and yes, even your dreams. And the sad part is, we let it. Now I know what you're thinking. Jim, why do we do this to ourselves? Well, my friend, let me tell you, it's not entirely your fault. From the moment we're old enough to count, we're taught to measure ourselves against others. In school, it's grades. At work, it's promotions. And in today's world, it's social media likes, followers, and filters. We've been programmed to believe that our worth depends on how we stack up to everyone around us. But let me ask you this. Who's writing that rule book? Who decided that your value is determined by someone else's achievements? I'm here to tell you, throw that rule book out the window. Burn it if you have to. Because here's the secret. Success isn't about being better than others. It's about being better than the person you were yesterday. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine this: 2 Olympic sprinters at the starting line, the race of their lives ahead of them. The gun goes off, and they explode out of the blocks. Now picture one of those athletes glancing sideways, checking to see if they're ahead of the competition. What happens? They stumble, they lose focus, and before they know it, the race is lost. Why? Because they forgot the golden rule of winning. Focus on your lane. And that's not just true on the track, it's true in life. The moment you start looking at someone else's race, you lose sight of your own. And you know what's ironic? While you're busy comparing yourself to them, they might be looking at you, thinking you've got it all together. So let me tell you how to break free from this cycle. It starts with understanding that life isn't a competition against others. It's a journey of growth, and the only person you're competing against is the person you were yesterday. Let me say that again. The only person you're competing against is the person you were yesterday. Now, I'm not saying you can't learn from others. Oh, absolutely, we should learn. We should be inspired, but inspiration and comparison are 2 very different things. Inspiration says, wow, look at what they've accomplished. What can I learn from that? Comparison says, why aren't I there yet? One lifts you up, the other drags you down. And here's another thing. When you compare yourself to others, you're comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. You see their victories, their successes, their smiles. But what you don't see is the struggle, the failures, the sleepless nights that got them there. Everyone has a story, my friend, and no one's story is exactly like yours. So how do we stay in our lane? How do we focus on our own race? Let me share 3 steps that have worked wonders for me and countless others. First, define your own success. Don't let society, your peers, or social media dictate what success looks like for you. Maybe for you, success isn't a mansion or a fancy car. Maybe it's having the time to spend with your family, the freedom to pursue your passions, or simply waking up every day with a sense of purpose. Success is personal, and it's up to you to define it. Second, celebrate small victories. Too often we wait for the big moments to feel accomplished. The promotion, the degree, the big break. But life is made up of small steps. Did you take 1 step closer to your goal today? Celebrate that. Did you learn something new? Celebrate that too. Success isn't a destination. It's a series of steps, and each one deserves recognition. And third, practice gratitude. When you focus on what you have instead of what you lack, comparison loses its grip. Take a moment each day to reflect on your blessings, your health, your family, your opportunities. Gratitude shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance. And that is where growth begins. So my friend, the next time you catch yourself comparing, I want you to remember this. You are in your own race. You are running your own marathon. And the beauty of it is, there's no finish line you have to cross to win. Every day you wake up and take 1 step forward, you're already winning. Focus on your lane. Celebrate your progress. And remember, the only person you're trying to beat is the person you were yesterday. Because when you do that, when you let go of comparison and embrace your journey, your joy returns. Your energy returns. And yes, my friend, your dreams become possible again. Stay in your lane, and I promise you, the view from your finish line will be worth it. So we've talked about the dangers of comparison. We've talked about how it robs us of joy, energy, and dreams. But now let's shift gears. Let's focus on the solution. Because it's one thing to recognize the problem, and that's important. But it's another to take action, to change the way you live and think. Let me ask you a question, my friends. Whose goals are you chasing? Are they your goals, or are they someone else's? Are they the dreams that truly ignite your soul, or are they simply the ones society has handed to you, like a checklist of what success is supposed to look like? You see, too often we get caught up in the expectations of the world around us. Society says, get the big house, drive the luxury car, climb the corporate ladder, and we buy into it. We think if I just get that, then I'll be happy. But let me tell you something, and listen carefully now. If those things do not light you up, if they do not make your heart race with excitement, then they are not your goals. They are someone else's. Step 1, define your own goals. Here's what I want you to do. Take a moment, grab a notebook, and ask yourself this one simple but powerful question. What truly matters to me? Not to your boss, not to your neighbor, not to your parents, but to you. Is it health? Is it freedom? Is it spending time with your family? Maybe it is building your own business, pursuing a passion, or simply living a life of peace and joy. Whatever it is, write it down. Do not hold back. Do not think about whether it is realistic or practical. Just write it down. Own it. Because when you define your own goals, your real goals, you are giving yourself a map. Without that map, you are just wandering. You are chasing what everyone else says you should want, instead of creating the life you truly desire. And let me tell you something, that is no way to live. When you know where you are going, something incredible happens. The noise around you starts to fade. The endless comparisons lose their power. Why? Because you are no longer running someone else's race. You are running your own. Let me say this loud and clear. You cannot win a race you were not designed to run. You cannot achieve fulfillment chasing someone else's dream. Your life, my friends, is yours to live, and it starts with defining what success looks like for you. Step 2, celebrate your progress. Now, I want to share something I see all the time. People set a goal, they take a step forward, and then what do? They beat themselves up because they have not reached the finish line yet. Sound familiar? Let me tell you something, my friends. Success is not a destination. It is a journey, and every step you take on that journey matters. Did you stop comparing yourself to someone else today? That is a win. Celebrate it. Did you spend 15 minutes working toward your dream? That is a victory. Celebrate it. You see, it is the small wins, the little victories, that build the foundation for greatness. Let me share a story with you. Years ago, I met a man who wanted to lose 50 pounds. Now, that is a big goal, right? But do you know how he started? Every single day he walked for 30 minutes. And every single day he wrote in his journal, I walked today. I am proud of myself. That was it. Simple, right? But you know what happened? Over time, those small daily walks turned into a healthier lifestyle. He did not just lose the weight, he gained something far more valuable: confidence, energy, and a sense of accomplishment. So stop waiting for the big moments to celebrate. Life is made up of small steps, and each one deserves recognition. When you celebrate your progress, no matter how small, you are reinforcing the belief that you are moving forward. And let me tell you, that belief is a powerful thing. Step 3, build daily habits. And now, my friends, we come to the final step. This may be the most important step of all. If you want to focus on yourself, if you want to create lasting change, you need to build daily habits. Let me explain why. Goals are great, but they are just the destination. Habits are the engine that gets you there. Think about it. If you want to read 50 books in a year, you do not start by reading 50 books. You start by reading 1 page a day. If you want to run a marathon, you do not start by running 26 miles. You start by jogging around the block. The key is consistency, small daily actions that, over time, create massive results. And here is the magic of it all: habits compound. Like interest in a bank account, they grow over time. 1 day of reading does not change your life, but 365 days of reading. That is a game changer. So start small. Pick one habit. Just one, and commit to it. Maybe it is reading 1 page a day. Maybe it is exercising for 20 minutes. Maybe it is learning 1 new skill a week. Whatever it is, make it manageable. Make it something you can do every single day without fail. And as you build these habits, something incredible starts to happen. You begin to see yourself differently. You start to believe in your ability to change, to grow, to achieve. And that belief, my friends, is the foundation of success. So let me ask you again, whose goals are you chasing? Are they the dreams that truly matter to you, or are they someone else's? Are you celebrating your progress, no matter how small? Or are you waiting for some big, distant moment to feel proud of yourself? Are you building daily habits that move you closer to your dreams? Or are you stuck wishing for change without taking action? The truth is, my friends, your life is in your hands. Your goals, your progress, your habits, they are yours to define, yours to celebrate, and yours to build. And let me leave you with this: the moment you take control of your goals, the moment you start celebrating your progress, and the moment you commit to building daily habits, that is the moment your life begins to change. That is the moment you stop chasing and start creating. Because at the end of the day, the greatest achievement is not just reaching the finish line. It is becoming the person who had the courage, the discipline, and the determination to run the race. So let's bring this all together. How do you stop focusing on others and start focusing on yourself? You define your own goals, because without a destination, you're just wandering. You celebrate your progress because every step forward is a victory. And you build daily habits because those habits are the engine of change. And watch as your life transforms one step, one day, one moment at a time. Let me leave you with this thought. Your life is like a garden. If you spend all your time looking at someone else's garden, you'll never tend to your own. But if you focus on planting your seeds, watering them, and nurturing them daily, your garden will grow. And one day you'll look around and realize that you've created something beautiful, not because you compared, but because you focused. So my friend, the choice is yours. Will you keep looking at their garden, or will you start building your own? I believe in you. I know you have what it takes. Focus on yourself and watch your life transform. Now, my friend, let me tell you something truly remarkable. When you focus on yourself, amazing things happen. It's like flipping a switch. Suddenly, the energy you've been wasting on jealousy, self-doubt, and chasing validation is redirected into something far more powerful. Your growth, your confidence, your light. You stop spending your days scrolling, envying someone else's highlight reel, and start crafting your own story. You stop seeking validation from the world and start building a solid foundation of self-belief. And perhaps most importantly, you stop living in someone else's shadow and begin stepping into your own light. But don't just take my word for it. Let me share a story of transformation, a story of what's possible when you choose to focus on yourself. There was a young man I once mentored. Let's call him Mark. Mark was bright, hardworking, and full of potential, but he had one big problem. He was trapped in the cycle of comparison. Every time he saw someone else succeed, he felt like a failure. Every time he saw someone else praised, he questioned his worth. He spent so much time looking at other people's lives that he forgot to live his own. One day, Mark came to me and said, "Jim, I feel stuck. No matter what I do, I always feel like I'm behind." I looked him in the eye and said, "Mark, let me ask you something. Whose race are you running?" He was quiet for a moment, then said, "I guess I don't know." "That's the problem," I told him. "You're running everyone else's race, but your own. It's time to focus on your lane." And that's exactly what Mark did. He took a step back, stopped worrying about what everyone else was doing, and started asking himself some important questions. What do I want? What does success look like to me? He set his own goals, started small, and celebrated every bit of progress along the way. Do you know what happened? Within a year, Mark didn't just catch UP.HE sword. His career took off, his relationships improved, and for the first time in his life, he felt free. Not because he had more than anyone else, but because he was finally living life on his terms. And that's what this is about. It's not just about success. It's about freedom. The freedom to live your life without worrying about what others think. The freedom to pursue your dreams without being weighed down by comparison or doubt. Now let me ask you, what would that kind of freedom look like for you? Imagine waking up every morning, not wondering who's ahead or what others are doing, but feeling excited about your own journey. Imagine putting all your energy into your growth, your goals, your happiness. Here's the beauty of focusing on yourself. It's a win-win. When you stop wasting energy on jealousy and self-doubt, you free up that energy to invest in becoming the best version of yourself. And when you become the best version of yourself, you inspire others to do the same. Think about it. When you see someone who's confident, focused, and living their truth, doesn't it make you want to do the same? That's the kind of impact you can have simply by choosing to focus on your own growth. Now, I know this isn't always easy. We live in a world that constantly pulls our attention outward. Social media, advertisements, even well-meaning friends and family, they all tell us to look at what everyone else is doing. But here's the secret: you don't have to listen. You can choose to turn your attention inward. Start by taking a moment each day to reflect on your own progress. Ask yourself, what did I do today that moved me closer to my goals? And don't just think about the big wins. Celebrate the small ones too. Maybe you learned something new, made a healthy choice, or simply showed up and gave your best. Every step forward matters. And let me tell you, when you focus on yourself, the world starts to look different. Challenges become opportunities. Setbacks become lessons. And those victories, no matter how small, start to add up in ways you can't imagine. Let me leave you with this thought. Your life is your masterpiece. It's your canvas, your story, your race. Don't let the noise of the world drown out your inner voice. Don't let the shadows of others dim your light. And don't let comparison rob you of the joy and freedom that come from living authentically. Focus on yourself, my friend. Invest in your growth, build your confidence, and step into your light. Because when you do, you won't just change your life, you'll inspire others to do the same. And that, my friend, is how we create a world where everyone has the freedom to shine. Now, let's take a moment to talk about freedom. This isn't just about success, it's about freedom. The freedom to live life on your terms, the freedom to say this is my path, and I'm proud of it. The freedom to stop worrying about what others think and start living for you. When you focus on yourself, amazing things happen. You stop wasting energy on jealousy and start investing it in growth. You stop seeking validation and start building confidence. You stop living in someone else's shadow and start stepping into your own light. And here's the best part. When you focus on yourself, you don't just transform your life. You inspire others to do the same. Think about it. When you see someone fully embracing their journey, doesn't it make you want to do the same? When you see someone chasing their dreams with passion and purpose, doesn't it ignite a fire in you? Be that person. Be the example, not by trying to outshine others, but by shining in your own way. Because the world doesn't need more comparisons. It needs more authenticity, more originality, more you. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a simple question. When was the last time you truly appreciated yourself? Not for what you've achieved, not for what you've done for others, but simply for being you. Think about it for a moment. We live in a world that's constantly pushing us to achieve more, to do more, and to be more. But how often do we pause to say thank you to ourselves? Gratitude isn't just about thanking others or counting your blessings. It's also about recognizing your own efforts, your own growth, and your own worth. And let me tell you, this is one of the most powerful habits you can develop. You see, life is a journey filled with ups and downs. There are moments of triumph, and there are moments of struggle. But in every moment, there's something to be grateful for. And when you start appreciating yourself, you unlock a kind of confidence and joy that no external validation can provide. Let's break this down into 3 powerful practices that will help you embrace the gift of gratitude and self-appreciation. 1. Acknowledge your small wins. Have you ever noticed how quick we are to dismiss our own achievements? Maybe you woke up early today, stayed consistent with a habit, or completed a task you'd been procrastinating on. These might seem like small things, but they're victories. And every victory, no matter how small, deserves to be acknowledged. Here's what I want you to do. At the end of every day, take a moment to reflect on what you did right. Write it down if you can. Did you make progress on a goal? Did you show kindness to someone? Did you overcome a fear or try something new? Celebrate it. This simple act of acknowledgement rewires your brain to focus on the positive and builds momentum for bigger successes. 2. Practice self-gratitude. Gratitude is often outward-facing. We're taught to thank others, to appreciate the good things in our lives, and that's important. But how often do you thank yourself? How often do you recognize the strength it took to get through a tough day, the resilience it took to bounce back after a setback, or the courage it took to chase a dream? Here's an exercise for you. Every morning, before you start your day, take a moment to thank yourself. Say it out loud if you can. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for trying. Thank you for being you. It might feel strange at first, but I promise you it's transformative. Self-gratitude isn't about being self-centered. It's about recognizing your own humanity and worth. 3. Reframe your inner dialogue. Let's talk about that voice in your head, the one that's always critiquing, always doubting, always comparing. It's time to reframe that dialogue. Instead of focusing on what you haven't done or where you've fallen short, focus on your progress. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, say, I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm becoming. This isn't about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing a perspective that empowers you rather than holds you back. And let me tell you, when you learn to speak to yourself with kindness and encouragement, you'll find a strength you never knew you had. The ripple effect of self-appreciation. Now, let me share something amazing about self-appreciation. It's not just about you. When you appreciate yourself, you show up in the world as a more confident, joyful, and compassionate person. And that energy is contagious. It inspires others to do the same. Think about it. Have you ever been around someone who truly values themselves? They don't brag or boast, but there's a quiet confidence about them. They're grounded, they're at peace with who they are, and that's magnetic. When you start practicing self-appreciation, you become that person. You inspire others to see the good in themselves, to celebrate their own journeys. Gratitude in action. Gratitude isn't just a feeling, it's an action. It's something you do, something you live. So here's my challenge for you. Every day, find 3 things to be grateful for about yourself. Maybe it's a quality you admire, a decision you're proud of, or an effort you made. Write them down. Reflect on them, and watch how your perspective shifts. And remember, this isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about recognizing that you're a work in progress, and that's a beautiful thing. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to keep moving forward, one step at a time. How often do we find ourselves saying, if only I had more money, or if only my situation were different? These words come out of frustration, but they hold no power to create change. Complaining about what you lack will never lead to the success you desire. It's like trying to drive forward while staring in the rearview mirror. You won't get anywhere. The hard truth is this: life doesn't owe us anything. The world isn't sitting around waiting to hand you opportunities. Success isn't handed out like participation trophies. It's earned, built, and fought for. The time spent focusing on what you lack is time you could be using to create something remarkable. Instead of asking why you don't have what someone else does, shift your perspective. Start asking, how can I improve myself? What can I do to rise above my current challenges? How can I become someone who achieves more, grows more, and becomes more capable every single day? Look around you. There are people who started from nothing. No money, no connections, no head start, yet they've accomplished incredible things. How? By refusing to waste energy on complaints or envy. They looked at their lives and decided to focus on what they could control, their mindset, effort, and determination. Think about this. The obstacles you face can either defeat you or define you. The choice is yours. When you lack resources, you learn to become resourceful. When you face challenges, you develop resilience. And those lessons are worth more than any shortcut or quick win. Stop letting circumstances dictate your future. Your situation today does not determine your tomorrow unless you allow it to. The key is to stop blaming what's outside of you and start building what's inside of you: your skills, your discipline, your vision. Imagine this: instead of comparing yourself to others, you commit to competing with the person you were yesterday. That's where the real battle lies. Every day you have the opportunity to take one step forward. It doesn't have to be a giant leap, just a small, intentional action that moves you closer to your goals. Here's what it takes to win that battle: discipline, consistency, and a relentless focus on growth. The good news is, you don't need perfect conditions to start. You don't need to wait for the stars to align or for life to become easier. You simply need to start where you are with what you have. Let me share a story to illustrate this point. There was a young woman who dreamed of running her own business. She didn't have much, just a laptop, an idea, and a vision. While others in her situation might have complained about not having funding or connections, she chose a different path. She spent her evenings learning new skills, her weekends networking, and her spare moments refining her ideas. It wasn't easy, but she didn't let what she lacked hold her back. Today, her business thrives, not because she had an easy start, but because she turned her determination into action. This mindset isn't reserved for the lucky few. It's available to anyone willing to embrace it. Complaining changes nothing. Action changes everything. Ask yourself, what am I doing today to ensure I'm better than I was yesterday? Not next week, not next year, today. Success isn't about the big moments. It's about the small, consistent actions that compound over time. Think of it like planting seeds. Each action you take is a seed for your future. Are you planting seeds of growth, learning, and discipline? Or are you planting seeds of doubt, procrastination, and excuses? The harvest you reap will depend on the seeds you sow. When you commit to this mindset, something incredible happens. You stop seeing obstacles as reasons to quit and start seeing them as opportunities to grow. You begin to recognize that the real power lies within you, not in what others have, not in what you lack, but in your ability to rise above. Success is not determined by what you start with. It's determined by how you finish. And how you finish depends on the choices you make every single day. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for someone to hand you an opportunity. Decide right now to become the person who creates their own success. Think about the people who inspire you. Are they the ones who had everything handed to them? Or are they the ones who worked tirelessly, overcame challenges, and refused to give up? Those are the stories that move us because they remind us of what's possible when we stop complaining and start creating. So how do you create that kind of life? It starts with a shift in mindset. Stop looking at what others have and start looking inward. What can you do right now with what you have to move closer to your goals? It might be a small step, but even small steps taken consistently can lead to extraordinary results. If you want to surpass others, if you want to achieve more, it's not about bringing them down or wishing for their failure. It's about outworking, outlearning, and outlasting them. It's about building yourself into someone so capable, so strong, that others look at you and wonder how you did it. And remember, this isn't about competing with the world. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. Every day is an opportunity to be better than you were yesterday. Some days will be harder than others. Progress might feel slow at times, but as long as you're moving forward, you're winning. You do not underestimate the power of small wins. Each small victory builds momentum. Each step forward strengthens your belief in what's possible. And that belief is your greatest asset. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't talent or luck. It's the willingness to keep going when things get tough. It's the decision to focus on solutions instead of problems. It's the refusal to let circumstances dictate your future. So stop complaining about what you don't have. Stop wasting energy on what's missing. Instead, channel that energy into becoming the person you need to be to achieve your goals. Because the truth is, you already have what it takes. Right here, right now, you have everything you need to start. It's not about waiting for the right moment. It's about creating the right moment. This is your time. Take it, own it, and use it to build a life so extraordinary that you look back one day and say, I did it. Against all odds, I did it. Let me share a story with you. It's about a young woman named Sarah. Sarah was an artist. Not just any artist, but one with a gift. Her paintings had a way of capturing emotions, of telling stories without words. But Sarah didn't see herself that way. You see, Sarah had a habit, a bad one. Every evening she'd sit down with her phone and scroll through social media. She'd look at other artists' work, and each swipe felt like a dagger. Wow, they're so talented, she'd think. I'll never be that good. Night after night, Sarah fell into the same trap. She'd compare her work to theirs, her unfinished sketches to their polished masterpieces, her quiet progress to their loud applause. And with every comparison, her confidence crumbled. One day, Sarah was supposed to submit a painting for a local art exhibit. She had worked on it for weeks, pouring her heart and soul into every brushstroke. But as she stared at her finished piece, doubt crept in. This isn't good enough, she whispered to herself. What's the point? Someone else will always be better. So she didn't submit it. She hid her painting in a corner, out of sight, and decided she was done with art. But life has a funny way of teaching us lessons, doesn't it? A few weeks later, Sarah's best friend, Emily, visited her. Now, Emily was the kind of friend who told you the truth, even when it stung. As they chatted, Emily noticed the painting tucked away in the corner. What's that? Emily asked, pointing to the canvas. Oh, it's nothing, Sarah replied, trying to brush it off. Nothing? Emily walked over and pulled the painting into the light. Sarah, this is incredible. Why haven't I seen this before? Sarah hesitated, then sighed. It's not good enough. I saw what other artists were submitting to the exhibit, and this doesn't compare. Emily turned to Sarah with a look that could pierce steel. Sarah, do you hear yourself? You're so busy comparing your work to others that you've forgotten its worth. This painting is yours. It doesn't need to compare. It just needs to exist. Something about Emily's words struck a chord. That night, Sarah sat down in her small studio and stared at her painting. She thought about all the hours she'd spent doubting herself, all the energy she'd wasted looking at others' work instead of creating her own. And in that moment, Sarah made a decision. She decided to focus, not on what others were doing, but on her own journey. The next day, Sarah set a new rule for herself: no more scrolling through social media before working on her art. Instead, she would spend that time painting, experimenting, and learning. At first, it wasn't easy. The habit of comparison doesn't break overnight. But every time she felt the urge to look at someone else's work, she reminded herself, my only competition is the artist I was yesterday. Weeks turned into months, and something remarkable began to happen. Sarah's confidence grew with every painting she completed. She started experimenting with new techniques, exploring her own style, and creating work that felt authentically hers. One day, she decided to share one of her pieces on social media, not to seek validation, but simply to share her joy. To her surprise, the response was overwhelming. People admired not just the painting, but the story behind it. "You inspire me," one comment read. "Your art speaks to me," said another. And then came the moment Sarah had once thought impossible: an invitation to showcase her work at a gallery. Now let me ask you this, what changed for Sarah? Was it her talent? No, she always had that. Was it her circumstances? No, those stayed the same. What changed was her focus. When Sarah stopped comparing herself to others and started focusing on her own growth, she unlocked her true potential. And here's the lesson for all of us: greatness doesn't come from watching someone else's journey. It comes from walking your own. So my friends, the next time you feel the pull of comparison, remember Sarah's story. Remember that your worth isn't measured by how you stack up against others. It's measured by the progress you make, the passion you pour into your craft, and the courage you show in sharing it with the world. Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't need another copy, it needs you in all your originality and brilliance. Now, as we come to the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a challenge. Not just a thought or a nugget of wisdom, but a real, actionable challenge. Are you ready? Here it is. For the next 24 hours, I want you to focus entirely on you. No scrolling through social media to compare yourself. No worrying about who's ahead, who's behind, or who's doing what. Just you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jim, 24 hours. That's a long time. But let me ask you this. How many hours have you already given away to comparison? How many days, weeks, or even years have you spent worrying about someone else's journey? Imagine what could happen if for just one day you turned all that energy inward. Here's what I want you to do. Start small. Pick one goal. Just one. Maybe it's something you've been putting off, like reading that book, taking that walk, or writing down your vision for your future. Whatever it is, take one step toward it today. Just one step. And here's the beauty of it. When you focus on that one step, the noise begins to fade. The doubts, the distractions, the comparisons, they lose their power. And what takes their place? Clarity. A sense of purpose. The realization that you are in control of your life. Now let me share something that's helped me tremendously over the years. Your only competition is the person you were yesterday. That's it. Not the neighbor with the shiny new car, not the coworker who got the promotion, and certainly not the influencer with the perfect life on Instagram. None of them are running your race. The only person who matters in this race is you. And let me tell you, you have everything you need to create the life you want. The potential, the talent, the drive, it's all there, waiting for you to tap into it. But here's the catch. You can't unlock that potential if you're too busy looking at someone else's life. You can't move forward if you're constantly looking sideways. Stop watching others. Stop measuring your worth by their standards. Instead, start building you. And here's the magic of it. When you focus on yourself, something incredible happens. The world notices. Not because you're chasing their approval, but because your growth, your confidence, your light, it's impossible to ignore. Think about it. When you see someone who's focused, driven, and living their truth, doesn't it inspire you? Doesn't it make you want to dig a little deeper, try a little harder, and become a little better? That's the kind of impact you can have just by focusing on your own journey. So my friend, here's my final thought for you. Stay focused. Stay unstoppable. Don't let the noise of the world distract you from your path. Keep moving forward, step by step, day by day, becoming the person you were meant to be. And remember this, the journey isn't always easy. There will be challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But every step you take is a step toward becoming the best version of yourself. And that, my friend, is the ultimate goal. So take the challenge. Spend the next 24 hours focusing on you. No comparisons, no distractions. Just you. And when you do, I promise you'll feel a shift. You'll see possibilities where there were once obstacles. You'll feel a sense of freedom you've never known. And most importantly, you'll realize that everything you need to create the life you want is already within you. So go out there, stay focused. And as always, keep moving forward because the best is yet to come.